Testing, testing.
Put on the mics.
Can't do. Okay. You really want it down, Mark? Yeah, you should put it on. I would do anything to accommodate you. Now I know someone's lying. Like it ain't that lovely.
And welcome to the forum for the candidates running for city council. I want to thank the Two Rivers City Manager, Greg Buckley, and his staff for the use of the council chambers and the league members who helped with tonight's events. Jennifer Baumann made the signs, and I'm sorry, Shannon, I probably left yours at the house. I thought I had it, and I didn't. But this is my third one, this is my third forum, Anyway, so I'm happy that this is the best one we're going to have tonight. And I want to introduce Julie Grindy. She is our timekeeper for the evening, and the forum is being streamed, and it's at youtube.com at Two Rivers WI stream. I hope that's right. I have to make some few statements. For those of you who have your phones, please turn them off. You've got pagers, please turn them off. Bathroom is down the hall. And I have to talk about our league's mission statement. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that does not endorse one party or one candidate over another. Our mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. League membership is open to all citizens from the age of 16, male or female. Okay, now at this time, I've asked each member to have an opening statement of why they are running. And we're going to start with Bonnie. You will have 2 minutes to do this, and then Julie will show up your signs, so if you will know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Bonnie Shimalunas. I have been on the council for a while. I just thought I would talk about one of my concerns. We have about 11,000 plus people in this city. We have about 4 low-income housing units in this city also, which I think is enough. It's practically almost all of them are on the same side of town, on the south side. And I don't think it benefits the city to do this. I never vote for these projects, which means that I wouldn't do it for anybody else's side of town either. What happens is they put down property values. And also, can't read my writing. Anyway, the newest one is going to be a block away from 9 businesses. 6 of them recently improved property within the last 2 years or remodeled a building, and 3 have always maintained their property Just think of this, if you buy property or a home and 2 years, 5, 10 years later, a low-income housing unit is set up near you, your property value goes down, and it might be quite a disappointment after you've put some money into your house. I wish, well, I won't bring that one up. The south side has a lot of land, and in some places it's too crowded, and as far as I'm concerned, it needs to bring houses down to make room for things like a garage. Some places have wooded areas on the south side. Some are near the river, some near the lake. Many people on the south side are good. I'd like them to stay. I'd like to see the absentee landlords leave. Thank you.
My name is Darla LeClaire, and I've been a city council member from 2016 to the present. I took 1 year off to start a small business. As city council representative, I am currently the chair of the Public Utilities Committee. We deal with construction projects, updated actions of water, wastewater, stormwater, electric, and telecommunications utilities. I previously have chaired the Public Works Committee, which has a lot of overlap with public utilities, plus the DPW shop and engineering issues. I've been on the BIDC CDA, and through that auspice, I did visit HUD in Washington, DC a couple of years ago regarding the importance of passing the CDBG Close Initiative, which did pass, and it returned RLF dollars from federal control to our local control. So we got money back into our community. I chair the Environmental Advisory Board, where we explore grant opportunities for environmentally related activities. We focus on clean water and safe drinking water initiatives. We deal with runoff issues, ponds, DNR requirements for our TMDL and our MS4 report. We're very active with public environmental education to include green infrastructure, addressing the public involvement side of the city's tree initiative. We look at the health of rivers and lakes. Pollinator gardens is going to be one of our subjects, and clean water. Main Street Board of Directors, I'm on that. Economic Development Program for our Main Street District. We help local businesses develop in our downtown, and we promote events, beautification, and public art. I chair the Main Street Design Committee, which focuses on public art and beautification, which includes murals and lots more.
You are allowed to, to finish your thought.
Sentence.
Can I? All right.
Your sentence.
Okay, for the design committee, we focus on the public art and beautification portion, which is murals, which you will start seeing in the near future. The beautiful hanging baskets that we had last summer was fantastic. The banner art program, which showcases artists in our area.
You're
told me I
pushing
could
it.
do
That's
this.
it. You're done.
And
You are
special
done.
art projects.
You're done. Adam.
My name is Adam Wohusky. I have lived in Two Rivers my whole life, where I proudly raised my family. Prior to getting elected to council 3 years ago, I was appointed to the Plan Commission for the city of Two Rivers. I came to council 3 years ago with goals. Of them, keeping taxes in line, creating a better quality of life, upgrading our parks, increasing special events, getting downtown businesses filled again, responding to all citizen concerns while assisting them in their issues timely, and getting market rate apartments built in the downtown. I'm proud to say that all of those have happened over the course of 3 years, thanks to the help of this entire council and city staff as we work as a team. The only goal that was not completed of all of those are the downtown apartments, something we are continuing to work on diligently as time moves forward. We have more work to do, and in my closing, I have set more goals for the future. I have had the pleasure of serving on council as the council president for just short of 2 years, and also briefly as vice president. I also served 2 years on the Personnel and Finance Committee and 1 year on the Utilities Committee.
Dean LaRose, I'm a newcomer. I've lived in this town my entire life. I'm 65. I retired 3 years ago. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, an Army vet. I went to grade school at St. John's Lutheran School and high school at Manawak Lutheran High. The city council just had a guy resign, so I know they need help. And I would like to help the city grow.
Shannon?
My name's Shannon Derby. I've worked in our bachelor's degree in leadership with a focus on the community. I've been very active in the community while I've been a resident here, both in the school, the senior living facility, and other community events. I started a petition for 24th Street when things were not going the way that we'd like my street would like to go. So I started a petition and got the changes that we needed to happen on our street. So I brought it to the council and everything went very smoothly after that. I'm a proud union member of Local 2089. I've also been to the White House Summit for Working Families in 2014. I've been an ASL interpreter for 15 years. And with that, I'm hoping that I can take that language that I used to interpret into a different language and use that here to listen to their community members and then make meaningful changes in our city. I would also like to, as for my goals, we should pledge to only plant native trees and foliage in our future projects, making sure that we are compliant with ADA laws, including making sure that this is closed caption this evening. And I just want to make our community welcoming to all people. Thank you.
Okay, we do have a sixth candidate, and his name is Ron Abney. And because I wanted to be fair, I contacted him before he left. He had a wedding to go to for his son in Mexico, so he's out of town. And I said, so write something up for me, and he did. So I'm going to read it to you now. My name is Ron Abney. My wife and I live at 1412 Hawthorne Avenue and have lived in Two Rivers for almost 30 years. I worked for the Hamilton as a project manager for 17 years and now work at Ace Hardware in Manitowoc. We raised 4 children and believe Two Rivers to be a great place to raise children and a wonderful place to live. I did volunteer work with the Relay for Life for 15 years and even co-chaired it for 7 years. I run for the city council because I believe that we need new faces and new ideas on the council. A new and different perspective and is healthy for a governmental body, whether local, statewide, or national. I believe that in this era of rampant inflation, the city government needs to look closely at its budget and adopt policies that are cost-effective and have the least detrimental effect on the taxpayers of our city. I know that since I've moved here, the population for Two Rivers has dropped by almost 15% and would like to find ways to reverse this trend by finding ways to bring more jobs back to our beautiful town, keep our residents and their children in the area. Moreover, I believe that too often proposals emanating from the city manager's office are not examined very carefully. I believe that we need to take a closer look at both the pros and cons of all proposals. I believe that it is the job of the city council to ensure that the residents' taxes are used to benefit the entire community. If elected to the city council, I will be a totally independent voice with an open mind to explore ways to improve our beautiful town. I have no business interests in Two Rivers. My only interest is to represent the citizens of our fair city. These are my neighbors and friends who too often are forgotten men and women when governmental bodies, including the Two Rivers City Council, engage in deliberations which proposes to increase their tax burden. And that's his statement. Okay, now we give this over to the audience and you are allowed to ask questions. Your questions should be no longer than 30 seconds. If it's more than 30 seconds, Julie will raise that sign. And you will have to get to your question and get to the question. So I don't care how much you want to say before the question, just get to the question. So anyone who wants to come on up, do so.
My name is Mark Bittner. I live at 3311 Monroe Street. I'm a resident of Two Rivers. I previously, full disclosure, served on city council. I want to thank you for your commitment. It takes a lot of time. It's a thankless job. Thank you for running for city council. My question is, our state has many tools available to the city to help us manage our city and our growth. One of the tools they have is a TIF program, and the tool is utilized very successfully in many of our communities within Wisconsin to bring new activities and development sites, locations to the community. How would you participate in the TIF activities? What would be your strategy to consider the pros and cons of that particular TIF for the welfare of their community?
Okay. As far as TIFs and TIDs, I think they're a very valuable resource. We have different ways of generating revenue and being able to pay for projects and to help businesses who want to come here to get started. With the TIF, it ends up paying for itself, and the revenue that is generated from a TIF will eventually be able to pay off on projects. I know that the old hospital TIF was instrumental in us being able to redo Lincoln. And the thing is that a lot of these projects that we do aren't coming from the taxpayer, they're coming from the TIF. So it's a very valuable tool. We don't overuse it like some communities do. We are not heavy on TIFs. We do a lot of grants that we go out and find grants to help us with projects. Our city staff is very good about doing the right thing for, the appropriate thing for the right reason for the right job. So I think that they are, having creating a TID and then having the TIF is a very, very good thing to work with. You have to weigh it against other possibilities and then figure out what it is that's going to be best for you.
TIF and TIDs are probably one of our only tools in the toolbox. I have had the opportunity to work on TIFs and TIDs prior to coming to council, being on Plan Commission. I do like them and I don't like them. It all depends on the scenario. Some districts pan out, sometimes you can end up backwards in them. It's always great when they work out, it's not great when we don't. But we have approved quite a few TIFs, which have helped the city grow. One of the biggest things that we've been working on, that I have also been working on, is talking to the state about when we retire a TIF, that only half the valuation right now gets credited back as tax base to the city. And that is probably my biggest beef with TIFs. We forego collecting taxes on a piece of property for 20 plus years, and then when it finally retires and gets back on the tax roll, it's only worth half. And that's where we like to be careful, or I like to be careful, on what we give TIF to and what we don't. I also like to be real particular on how many years the life of that district lasts to protect the city, and also want to make sure that if at all possible, it's pay as you go versus upfront, because then we also have to factor in the the rate of borrowing that money. So that's my view on TIF. It is a very good tool to be in the toolbox, but also one you got to be a little careful with.
I think they're a good tool. I don't think they're necessarily good for rental housing because the people building the housing don't pay taxes. The people that rent don't pay taxes. And when the TIF runs out, you can't guarantee that the people that built the housing unit will still be here to pay the taxes once the taxes kick in. For manufacturing, for business, I think they're wonderful tools and they should be used.
TIFs and TIDs are just one of the many things I hope to learn when I join city council, to be honest. I'm not very familiar with it. So if I get voted in, it's one of the many opportunities I have to learn something new.
They are difficult to understand, by the way, so don't feel too
Okay.
bad. And because that's why Adam said he likes them and he doesn't like them, and there's a point to that. I think our city has managed them pretty well, but I'm so hesitant on wanting to take more of them out. I would like to see some paid off and think really hard about taking any new ones out. That's about all I can say because people have pretty much said all the relevant facts about it.
I'm Connie Hendries from 3631 Glenwood Street, Two Rivers. I used to be the moderator of these things until I
Anytime, girl.
until I retired from it a few years ago. I think it might be good if someone would explain exactly what TIF and TID are, because I'm sure there are at least one or two people in the room who have no clue. So if somebody, and maybe one of the candidates, so. Thank you. I don't know who wants to take that on. Maybe the city council president would take that
I
on.
can, sure, we can dive into that.
Thank you.
So TID and TIF. So TID is a tax incremental district, which includes the district of the property. So sometimes you can have a single property, sometimes it can be multiple properties that covers the district. The TIF is TIF or tax incremental financing. That is what the actual project within that district receives. So if there's a new project coming up, they may come to the city to ask for assistance in that project. And if a TID and TIF is granted for that project, the tax money comes right back to them. So for instance, a building could be valued at, we'll say round numbers, $1,000. Okay, that's maybe what they pay in taxes altogether, and that goes to the school, to the city, to the county, to the technical college. I believe I covered all four of those. Instead of being distributed to all of those, that money gets put back into their investment. So essentially they pay taxes, but the tax money goes right back to them for their investment in their project. So districts usually last 20 plus years. It doesn't necessarily always take that long to pay off what they are looking to get. So a project might ask for 15,000. So in round numbers, again, that would take 15 years. The district might last 20 years. The rest of that money would be used for that district for improvements or a half-mile radius around that district. For it could be parks, it could be roads, it could be paths, it could be anything that we kind of put into that district. Pay as you go. As the money comes in, we can pay them. If it's money up front, we usually grant them money as they start their project and then incremental steps of that project. So it might be foundation, they might get a portion of that. Then it might be structure starts to go up, they get another portion of that. And that money is borrowed, not paid by taxpayers, only paid by that district. And I hope that made sense. And if it didn't, I apologize, but I think it did. Did I hit that pretty spot on or pretty close to being spot on? Okay. He's much more brighter at that than I.
Is.
Hi, I'm Mary Wallace from Washington Street in Two Rivers. I wasn't planning to ask a question, but then Bonnie, I listened to your comments and I would just like to know, because housing is low, and I'm not low, affordable housing is such an issue in our community. I'm wondering what solutions you have to that problem. Well, right, anybody that has any comment to make.
All right, we're gonna start though with D. We rotate, everyone gets the first time.
Hey, I don't understand the problem. I don't understand where we're having a problem with housing. We
Low-income housing, there's not enough.
don't have any jobs. I mean, we need good paying jobs so that people can buy homes, so people can rent homes. We don't need to bring, oh, that would be really wrong. We don't necessarily need people that don't contribute. You have to be able to contribute also to help our city grow.
I support the affordable housing. If we can look at another place to maybe build it instead of just always on the south side. I don't know what options Two Rivers currently has, but I do have a very open mind about this because I do believe people need a place to call home.
The thing is, I'm not against all, all affordable housing. I don't understand affordable housing, okay? I know that this newest project is supposed to cost, I did something, didn't I? Oh, maybe not. It's supposed to cost $15 million. And for 50 some units. It's especially, I guess I don't like the way it's designed either, because other low-income housings in the city at least have some parking spaces near their own apartment. People don't like it when it's near them, because as soon as you build something near where they are living, because when they proposed the one at St. Mark's, I went across the street and I asked people, are you okay with this? And they didn't want to say no, but when I said, would you buy a house across the street from one of these projects? And they said no right away, because their property values go down. And this is part of the problem. You know, my cousin who lives in Algoma, they have a house. And I realize not all people are like this, but they're renting 2 apartments right next door to themselves to 2 older women, in each has their own apartment, for $400 a month. Well, that's really, I think that's affordable. I also know that if something goes wrong, they're going to fix it. It kind of bothers me to see some of these places. It's not just the affordable housing, even the Section 8 housing, and the people don't shovel their sidewalks. They don't, bring their garbage cans in. And you don't always know who they are. I think that in order to fill them, you have to bring them from the outside. I don't think there's enough people in Two Rivers who are living here who need them. And whenever okay, I have to stop. I'm sorry. I can talk to you later if you'd like.
Okay, first of all, right now is that if we want to make our community stronger and to have more economic development and we want people to come in and work, we better have some place for them to live. All right. Right now, Two Rivers is running at an 8.9% poverty rate. So people in town need to be able to afford decent accommodations. And right now, over the past year, 2 years, the cost of rent has risen just amazingly high. And we have to remember that we've got people who are on fixed incomes, that we've got young people who are just starting out who can't afford $1,200 a month. That's obscene. But they do need and are and should get a decent place to live. I think that when we talk about affordable housing or lower income housing, I think to categorize those people as not being worthy is completely wrong. I have been in that situation. I think I turned out pretty darn good, and I contribute to my community. So I think that we can't have this generalization of people and give people the opportunity to live right, have a quality of life, to be able to get a job and to bring those jobs in and to build on our business base, have a place for these people to live, number one. And so I want to see more. I really do. And not just lower to, middle and not just affordable, but more market rate. So that it covers the entire spectrum of people. That's what I've got.
So that's kind of a twofold question. So is low income housing bad? No. Do we need an abundance of it? No. We do have quite a few options within the city where we do have low income housing, which is great. We wouldn't want to get rid of it. I don't know how much more we want to add. When you get to the percentage of low income housing apartments that we have, it's probably pretty high in comparison to market rate apartments that we have. And we need some kind of a balance there. So yes, low income housing, absolutely. Market rate, yes, but they should be even. It shouldn't be more low income and less moderate, and it shouldn't be vice versa either. I think we need to have a better balance of it. And I think the biggest thing is when they build these units that are low income, a lot of times they are tax exempt, which means you get a lot of people living in your community, but not necessarily contributing to the tax base as in paying taxes because they get tax exempt. That means they forego their taxes. And that's always a big concern as we look up here and how to fund our services throughout the whole city. So that is one concern there. Obviously, market rate taxes are paid on that property in full as they are. It's not subsidized. It's not tax exempt. Also, sometimes you get some apartment units that it's not the fault of the tenant, more a fault of the landlord. So we had one that's on Columbus Street right thereabouts that kind of went to crap, so to speak. It really got run down. And that becomes a problem because, like Bonnie said before, you have neighbors that don't necessarily want to live around a place where they're not keeping it up. But if you have market rate apartments, they tend to keep it up, others they don't keep their tenants. So it's a balance thing.
It out first. I try to keep it trained.
E for the water, I didn't think I needed, but doggone. It's a lot of speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Bill LeClaire, and I'd like to ask, what is the number one thing that if you get on the city council that you'll strive to do for the future of Two Rivers? That's it.
And Shannon, we start with you first.
My mom. I would like to see the city of Two Rivers continue to grow and be welcoming to all families. My number one priority is to make sure that we are planting native species, so we don't have the same problem we had on 24th Street with a potentially invasive species invading our town. And I fully anticipate participating in the environmental advisory board,
Right.
the EAB. Yes, that's my number one priority is nature.
This wouldn't have been my number one priority when I started the council, but I would like to see improvement in some of these neighborhoods, like the South Side, where there is potential and improvement for them. Not only that there's a potential for, well, there's not a potential for businesses to come everywhere, but some of these neighborhoods are so small. And if you really want people to come there, I think they need to have some room to do things like build a garage. There are some places on the South Side that I know that they can't,
Turned off your mic.
because there isn't enough room. I think that's important. I know you want to see more housing, but why not just improve what there is? Because that's reasonable. And I want to point out that there is a difficulty for people to even find a house. And some of these people want homes. They don't just want to live in an apartment building. And I don't know what you do about that part, because the rental, there's about 30%, that's what the 2010 census said, of units in this city are rental. 1/3 of this city, a unit can be an apartment building or a home. So 1/3 of them are rental, and yet people want to buy homes to live in. I find that it's just too bad. I guess I won't say any other words, but that's it.
Okay, like I said, I've been doing this since 2016, and I'll tell you what, I have seen this city turn a corner. If you look at all the new businesses that are coming into downtown, if you look at our industrial park, it's amazing. I think that we've come a long way since all the issues or the problems with losing our big employers. We went through a very, very rough patch. We are back on track. And I think that if we do everything we possibly can to capitalize on our strengths and not try and be a community that can't be that type of community, as far as like getting like large employers back, that just isn't going to happen. It's overnight. You have to start with the small businesses. When you think about it, Hamilton's didn't start off huge. Eggers didn't start off huge. They started in somebody's basement or garage, and they grew. So if we foster small businesses, eventually they can grow to employ more of our people. In the meantime, Manitowoc is doing a fabulous job with building companies and having job opportunities far out for them. I want to draft on their coattails. We can go a couple miles, work over there, live here. All right, we capitalize on our beauty, our nature, everything that we have strength in, and not try to be something that we're not. So I think that that's really important. And I think that right now, economic development is huge. Small business is huge. I think that we keep our infrastructure going correctly, that we start looking at environmental issues, which we are doing, and we're making a difference. It's a beautiful community, and it's only going to get better.
Good question, Bill. I would like to see us maintain or improve our city services. And what I mean by that is to make sure that we continue on with all of the services we provide, from police, fire, EMS, rec department, utilities crew, library funding, maintaining our roads. I think that is absolutely huge. We have had to, over the years, cut some of those positions in those departments. And we've also lost some people to our population as well. But I want to make sure that we maintain those to the core that we have now, if not improve on it little bit by little bit as time moves on. Those are very important departments to the city. They cost a lot of money, but we need to strive to make sure that those departments are all in check, fully funded, and fully staffed. That's what we are. We are a city of people taking care of people. And without those city services, we're not able to take care of people. We need to have good roads. We need to rely on good paramedics. We need to rely on good firefighters, good police officers, making sure our utilities crew is there when we need them, when your sewer's backed up, when your water's not coming, when your electricity turns off. Okay, we need to make sure that we have a good library for us to attend for our kids, for ourselves, and make sure that our roadways are clear of snow and make sure they are properly maintained. I do think we have a housing shortage though too, so that would be my very next second.
I think we need to grow our tax base. That's how you can pay for people to provide your services, plow your streets, cut your grass. We need a lot of attention focused on our empty storefronts on Main Street, M&M, Schwartz's Deli, Copper Kettle, which has been empty for the longest time. I think we need to focus also on our needs before our wants. We have a beautiful 365 project going on out here that took $500,000 of city money. We're redesigning Neshota Park. That's at a cost of $400,000. Those are funded. We needed a solid waste compactor for the water treatment plant that wasn't funded and suddenly jacked up our water rate. That was a need. Every toilet in Mishkat and Two Rivers needed that sanitation piece of equipment, and that wasn't funded. We got a massive rate increase on our water bill in August last year. And once that thing is paid for, that increase will still be there. It won't go away. We need to grow our tax base. Thank you.
Bittner, live on Monroe Street. Dean, you keep saying you want to build your tax base. You want to explain and then everybody else comment. How are you going to do that? And how are you going to fill the empty stores that have been empty? Because I see lots going in right now that we are making a difference of empty or getting people to buy those buildings and start businesses in those empty storefronts. It's looking pretty good right now. Well, we do a rotation. I was directing it to him. Everybody can answer. But everybody's going to answer it, and we start with Bonnie. Sorry.
Grow your tax base by bringing in people who pay taxes on houses and industries. So you can do is try to get them to come. I mean, to say, how are you going to grow it? I don't know. You can't really force, people here. But it seems like people want to come here because I know that when a house is up for sale in a week or two, they've got 6 to 10 people bidding on that house, and they go so quickly. But there really aren't. There aren't enough houses. I don't see a need to have so many houses for rent. All right. But I don't know what you would do about that because I know you can't legislate that he shouldn't have more than 10 houses. That would be really don't know how to do that, except maybe to start inspecting them. Because I know my neighbor who's a renter, and he told me, yeah, I asked my landlord 8 times to fix the sink, and now I just keep a towel under it. To me, those kinds of things are kind of a problem. I'm finished.
Okay, I think that, yeah, we want to grow our tax base, and we do have a housing shortage. There are new homes that are being built at our subdivision. We are looking at going into phase 3 and other locations that we are going to be considering. There's only so much space, there's only so much we can do as far as new homes. Now, the thing is too, is that you've got people who have been in a home for quite a while who might not want to have or take care of the upkeep anymore. They might want to go into a condo, or they would be just fine living in an apartment where they don't have to worry about the grass and the snow. And if they were able to do that, it's going to open up homes. And if you are able to do that, let's say that it's a mid-range home, and you've got somebody who's got a less expensive home who wants to upgrade, then you start this rotation of people. All right, so I think that that's a hard one. It really is. We need more areas for people to live. I think, what was the rest of your question, Betty? Oh, the storefronts. I'll tell you what, we've got Sweet Fire who's come in. We're going to have a new bookstore. We have a new insurance company. We have a Rock and Gem. We have a new Cellcom, I think. Okay, and some other ones. So actually, our dark stores are lighting up. It's amazing. And it finally happened. I think we needed to get 1 or 2 going, and it's a momentum. But you're going to see some big differences just within the next 1 or 2 months. So I think we're in good shape on that. And the more we have in the area, the more attractive it's going to be to somebody who wants to come down, doesn't see all the dark spaces. I think we're good.
A baseball guy. If you build it, they will come. Okay. So what's going to attract them here versus someplace else? I think it comes down to quality of life. Is this a safe community? Are we protected? Do we plow our roads? Do we take care of our parks? Do we have stuff for my family to do here? And do they feel safe when they're doing it? Neshoto Park, the $400,000 we spent there, answers that question. Project 365 across the street answers that question. That makes a community feel inviting. When you come here to visit, it makes you want to relocate. I like that place. I can do something in summer. I can do something in fall. I can do something in winter. We don't have much of a spring, so we'll forget spring. They kind of mesh. But anyway, you need to have stuff for families to do. Do we have a strong library? Do we have a place where our kids can learn and grow? That makes me want to live here. That's why I do live here. We have a spot for my family to go. We have things to do. Okay, we have a great park system. We're improving on it to hopefully bring more people in. And I think that's where you start on growing a community. As far as downtown, I think we've done a great job of rebuilding downtown and getting people in storefronts. Part of that is, again, I attribute some of that coming to Project 365. It's momentum. People know it's coming. They want to be here. I attribute it to events that are downtown, right? People want to be here. They see the events. They see the momentum. And the last thing that we did and had a lot of success with was the downtown grant for signs and facade that have really fixed up a lot of downtown businesses. Weichert Realty, Linda Loves Cheesecake, The Hook is going under renovation, Cool City Brewery. Those are all things that really helped downtown and made it more inviting for other people to want to start a business here.
Don't have an answer to fill the M&M or Schwartz's. I don't have an answer for that. That's why I'm running for city council, to try to help the city council with my help, hopefully get somebody in those buildings. We could use a good restaurant in Two Rivers. We have bar food. Mahout's leaving or closing. We lost a very nice restaurant. M&M was a very good restaurant. Schwartz's had good food. Copper Kettle had a great breakfast. These businesses have been gone and shuttered. We need help.
Really like the way that our city has grown. I think a lot of the storefronts that were once dark have found new life. Some of the businesses that took a chance on our city are still here, and I think that speaks volumes. They've started their families here, they brought their business here, and because they feel safe, because we have an excellent park system, we have a beautiful beach, and we have a lot to offer our community members. And hopefully we have enough housing. I worked in a school district. I see what the needs are. I see our demographics. I'm very familiar with that need in our district, so.
More questions?
To some of what you said. I grew up here. I lived here until I was 19, and then I left, and I haven't been back till now, when I'm 85. But I think that Two Rivers is one of the best kept secrets of little cities that you'll ever find. And now that I'm back here, I look back and see what I didn't see as a child as the most beautiful lakefront, and all the things that you don't see as a child, but you see when you're older. And I think that you have so many things here going for you now that I see. There's a great library, there's a great senior center. I know that there's things downtown that need to be brought back to life, but you still have a lot of great restaurants. When we came back, we found a lot of great restaurants that are here, that are new, and some are older, but they're still good places to eat. And Nashotah Park is beautiful. They're doing something downtown. And I think that we don't want to turn this into a Wisconsin Dells, but there's still a lot of things here that people would love to come and see. And I think there's not enough advertising for people to come here and see the wonderful little city this is. And I think that there needs to be a lot more maybe push for that if you want more people to come and the town to make more money. But it's still a beautiful little town. I'm happy to be back here, and I think that that needs to be told. Thank you.
Nicely said, if I can. And if I can't, I'm sorry.
Too bad you said it.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's true. As a member of city council, I hit a lot of this frustration because a lot of people who don't understand the reality would complain about one thing or another specific. I'm going to ask everyone, but we've got a couple examples like the Copper Kettle and M&M's and Schwartz's and some of these other places that are privately owned businesses. What field of experience do you have in overcoming a private properties owner to encourage him to get the development that we'd all like to see? But since it's privately owned, as member of city council or the city itself don't have control of it. So give us your experience.
Okay, with that, yeah, absolutely, Mark. I mean, it's a free country, free will. Whoever owns the property is going to do whatever the heck they want to. And the thing is that the city works diligently with property owners so that there can be some rehabilitation and good use of properties. Copper Kettle, the owners who live out of state don't seem to care. We can't force them to do anything. As far as M&M, there have been some issues with that. We've had some bites on that, and it doesn't come down to the city. We help as much as we can, but ultimately it is between two independent parties. like I said, it's free will. And we do offer a lot of assistance and we bend over backwards to help, to help different companies who want to come in, realize their dream, but things are out of our control. It's just like with utility bills and all that. A lot of that and other things that people complain about, and I totally get it because I complain about it too. But a lot of this is out of our hands. It's dictated by the DNR, it's dictated by the feds, or it's dictated by the state. We have to work within their parameters and we do the absolute best that we can. People might not realize that, or they think that we're not doing our job. We are going above and beyond and trying to do the best for this community. I think that the city is doing a fantastic job. I think we've had very strong city councils. I want to see that continue. You have people who are dedicated and will remain dedicated. And I don't know what else to say except we're doing our best.
As far as experience, I mean, I have experience in business and building from the ground up. As far as having experience as to fill in a shuttered building, I can't say that I've had that. And I would say that's because they're privately owned. There's not a whole lot I can do to push and shove and make sure that they open their business. When they got their mind made up as to what they want to do and their asking price or other issues with the property, that's entirely on them. However, I know as a city, we do everything we can to promote Two Rivers, to show them what we have to offer as a city, to give them our traffic count and say, hey, this is a perfect spot. This will work for you. Also, as a city, I know we show them that we do have TIF available, that we do have TIDs available to help them and assist them in building right here in Two Rivers. We have grants. I just talked earlier about the Main Street grant for the facade and sign grant. We have ways that we try to work with people when we know that they want to come here to incentivize them putting their business here. Again, you can't force the people to do it. But I know our city works extremely hard and they do take some crap from time to time. But our community development director, our city manager, do work extensively hard on that. And I will stand up here and say that whether you're for them or against them, I will tell you they work extremely hard on trying to fill those vacancies. And when A doesn't work out, they take a map of the entire city and say, what about B? What about C? We have land here. We have a spot here. We have this. And they give them all the information they need, whether it's traffic counts, whether it's what parks are in that area, whether it's, is there a school nearby that there's a lot of after hours activities such as basketball, football games. They do that. And that's my experiences seeing that here on city council.
Don't have an answer for that. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm a resident. I've lived here all my life. I see the empty spots. I see the empty buildings. I see the empty parking lots. I remember Two Rivers when we had large major employers. I worked at Paragon. I drove school bus here for 9 years. I worked at Eggers. I don't know what the answer is, but I am willing to help. That's the best I can do.
I believe that if we keep making Two Rivers a welcoming and growing community with beautiful spots and places for businesses to establish themselves and to grow, then people will come and take a look at some of these properties and breathe new life into them. The bank across the street has Cool City Brewing. Emily Ristigan just opened the High Lift, and she did a great job. And those buildings sat empty for a long, long time. So if we can get more creative people in here to take care of that space and make it something, to help our community, I think that's what we really need to do.
I think Bonnie went. Sorry, not to interrupt.
I wasn't quite sure about the question. You were wondering if we could interfere with private people? Well, anyway, you really can't if something is owned privately. There's, you know, even when you think somebody's coming in, I know we have a lot of warehouses here now. And those are big buildings that could be used for something else, but the people who own them are satisfied with what's happening, and you can't really change their mind. That I really have nothing else to add to that.
I'm Rich Greenwood. I'm 1617 24th Street. I, um, we're watching right now in Manitowoc County that tax rates are taking quite a hit. Like Manitowoc Public Schools is going to be taking a big one for the next 5 years. They're looking at rebuilding the county courthouse for $25 million. And I'm just looking for your positions on what you think on the taxation. We've done a very good job, I should say, in Two Rivers maintaining a good tax rate. But where do you see it going for the next 5 years, and what would you support?
Okay, Adam.
Hey, can I just ask a clarification question? You talked about county. Are you looking for our position on the county taxation or city taxation? Okay, I want to make sure. So you're looking to see what we would support on a city basis in the next 5 years? Where do you see it going? Okay. Taxation wise in the city of Two Rivers in the next 5 years is going to trend upwards. Okay. We have borrowing that was done in the last 10 years. We do 10-year borrowing. So it has no choice but to quite honestly go up. It's not due to necessarily the council that is present or last year. It has to do with accumulation of the last 10 years. Borrowing that had to be done. Things like a fire truck, stuff like ambulances, stuff for our utilities departments, recreation, upkeep on our buildings, our infrastructure, all things that had to be borrowed. So yes, it's going to go up. Our general fund, I don't think necessarily has to take a big increase, but it's probably going to increase. Contracts for police and fire went up. 3% raises went out. Those had to go out, okay? Just like everyone out in the audience or at home dealt with inflation, they got pay increases with their jobs, right? To battle that inflation. And we did the same thing to our employees. We feel we have to take care of our employees. Our employees take care of us as a city. Do I see it going drastically high? No, I don't. I think we will maintain kind of the increases that we've had. Would I like to see it go down? Of course. Will I try to have it go down? Of course. But I won't do that at the expense of the city. And what I mean by that is, do I think it's smart to not take care of a building and let it completely go to heck versus spending $50,000, $100,000 on $1 million building to keep the upkeep? Of course, I would vote to keep that in line, because 5 years down the road, you're going to end up having to rebuild that whole thing at $1 million, and do the math. It ain't going to work. But I think we are very smart on our taxation. But I do see some slight increases coming along the way. Hopefully not.
I'm not a fan of taxes. I don't know anybody that is. The economy is terrible. Inflation is terrible. What I don't like is an increase on our property taxes of 2.4%, and then utility rate increases. That's a tax. Because you increase our utilities, that doesn't go away. They just keep going up. We need, you can't tax us twice a year. You have a budget, work within your budget. And hopefully we can keep taxes under control.
Taxes usually have an upward trend, unfortunately. And I obviously have a lot to learn, and I am keeping an open mind about this. There's a lot of behind the scenes things and intricacies that the incumbents already know. And I'm willing to learn. I don't have all the knowledge yet, but I am willing to learn, work with our community, find out the needs, and work with the council members as well.
Yeah, taxes are a difficult thing. you know, in our utilities, our water department, if you do something, like change something because the DNR says you have to, and sometimes we don't even have that project paid off and we have to change it again. We do get pretty good grades though from the DNR for our water and stuff. They're pretty happy with it. We have done stuff like, there are some funds in the city that are healthy. And we have done things like, instead of borrowing from a bank or something, we borrow from our own funds and pay that fund back with a little interest, which is not a bad idea because it's like you're borrowing, but it's like borrowing from the extra savings account you have. I actually like that idea. Other, I don't know what else we can do really with the price of everything going up the way it is. So we really are doing our best. And I think I always say positive things about our department heads because I really think they're pretty good, especially in our utility. I shouldn't say especially, I didn't mean to say it that way, but they are pretty good at what they're doing.
I know that we've all heard about, there's an old adage about death and taxes. They both suck, but, but the thing is, it's inevitable. Taxes are going to go up. I mean, we're all realistic adults. That's just the way of the world. I think that as far as what we can do to control the taxes, it's very difficult for us to really be able to have much control over it. We talk about, yeah, we have a budget and we should stay within the budget. Well, you got a budget and then all of a sudden it's going to cost you 25, 35% more to accomplish a project like redoing a street. All of a sudden your materials are going out, right out the roof. The cost of having people work on these projects, their wages have gone up. As far as being able to pay the people who live here or who work here for the city. What am I saying? Let me just say this about retaining employees for the city. We have to increase how much they're getting paid. We can't try and underpay them because we're going to lose them and we're not going to attract. So that's one thing we have to deal with. There's different things that cause our taxes to increase because the cost is to us. If the city has to pay more for services and goods and all that, where's the money going to come from? Unfortunately, it's from the citizens here, but look what you get for it. You get protective services, you got a bus system, you have a beautiful beach. I mean, remember, we live in a society and we have to pay for the amenities. And the city does the best that they can to keep within budget and to try and not raise taxes.
Bill LeClaire. I just want to ask, we have this property over here where Hamilton's used to be. What do you guys foresee for the future for that?
Start with Dean.
Do we own that property? No. Well, then it's a private property. We have nothing to say about that.
Shannon.
I'd just like to reiterate that we have a beautiful town and people should come and look at it. And if the owner of that property is willing to sell it, then, I mean, it's the free market, it's capitalism, it's what we live in, so.
It's not a fair question to them because they don't know as much as we do, but trying to buy it, we're trying to acquire it. And then if you own it, you can have some say over what goes in there. but you can't really do anything until they're willing to sell, and I'm not real sure why they're dragging their feet.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been dealing with the owners for a very long time, and they are just, yeah, they're dragging their feet. They don't see us as a priority. They couldn't care less if it's an open lot. They don't care. So our city, our staff continuously works with them and tries to engage them. They are not real good about playing ball. But we're not going to stop trying to engage them and try to have action. In the meantime, though, we are pre-planning. What can we possibly do with that property once we acquire it? And there's so many different beautiful things that we can do with it. So at least we're not waiting until we have it. What are we going to do with it? We're already pre-planning. We already have ideas that are going to be beneficial for our city and are going to fit into our scheme of being charming and quaint, and we would have more opportunity for homes, or not homes, but for residents, especially like above like stores. There's a lot that we're trying to do with these people, and then again, free will, free country, they own it. We have to work within their parameters and just keep badgering them and try and make sure that something happens.
It's private space, no doubt. It's not our land, but I envision it as being something bright and vibrant and attractive to our city from a private development. Nothing that the city is going to develop whatsoever. We will probably, I can foresee us having a hand in purchasing it and making sure that it gets to a developer with a good idea. However, there are also other concerns with that property, as it was the former Hamilton's. And as you can imagine, there's probably some DNR issues there. And that will also affect what can actually be done with that property, I'm sure, in the future, as new restrictions and new codes come enforced by the DNR as to what we can actually do. Nothing more on that.
For just one more. Okay, no more questions. We're going to start with our closings. And Shannon, you get to go first. You have 2 minutes to address anything you want.
What?
It's your closing. You do the way you want to do it.
Okay. I have a passion for service in our community, as I said in my first statement, in my opening statement. My children and I have called Two Rivers home for the last well over 10 years. I've been a member of our school district as an ASL interpreter. I have my bachelor's degree in leadership, and I would like to use that to promote our city, to move it forward, to find initiatives or integrative ways to get our message out there so that people know that we have these amazing events. For our tree planting, rebate, how can we get that out to people that aren't looking at their Two Rivers water bills? What are some new and creative ways to get our kids involved, our students at the high school involved in our local government, so that they can become engaged citizens in the future? How are we I want to make our community very welcoming to everybody and to help our beautiful community continue to grow.
I know that some of you people out there are not happy about the way I vote all the time, but I feel like I should represent them. Well, they aren't. And that I try to represent the majority for certain things. I won't mention what they are because you'll get more mad at me. No, but certain things if I feel that, I like to talk to people and let them know, have them tell me what they want. I like it when they contact me. And that's, I don't really have too much more to say. Just take a look at my overall record and see if you're okay with that.
Okay, I've always felt it was important to add value and to make sure that I do something of substance with my life. And that started a long time ago when I was in school. I started working with Special Olympics. Since then, I have been involved with Amnesty International. I've been involved with USGLC in Washington, D.C. as a lobbyist. I am a Madison lobbyist for the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. I was in the military and I served as a repairman. That's what we were called back then, not repair women, we were repairmen, for the improved Hawk missile system radar. I was the first woman who ever worked on pulse acquisition and range radar. So I'm very proud of that. I served my country. As far as what I'm doing now, I want to serve my community and I want to add value. Otherwise, I'm taking up space. And I think that I have added value. I care about you guys. I want to do my best. I don't have an agenda. And I try and be very prudent with your money. And I try to make sure that people's issues and grievances are being addressed. And like I said, you have a very good city council right now, and we all try to do that. But I think it's just important service is important. And I remember when I was in school and I did the Special Olympics, Eunice Shriver was part of the group I was in, and she was very inspirational. And I've tried to live my life. I've tried to live up to her expectations.
I have stayed true to the residents of Two Rivers. I have been able to keep taxes in line and come up with ideas and ways to reduce the final tax rate that was ultimately voted on by council that started much higher when we were started at budget time. We have dealt with many budget issues, including huge increases to insurance, inflation, and shortages. But we have managed to keep taxes in line while still providing all those services like plowed roads, rec department, fire, EMS, police, utilities, library, and so on. And we have maintained our roadways way better than some of our surrounding communities. I have talked many times with state representatives and senators about issues near and dear to Two Rivers. I have also spoke with the governor's office as recently as this week to fight for Two Rivers' needs as it pertains to the state budget. I pledge to continue to keep our taxes low. I pledge to continue to keep our fees cheap. I don't like seeing them either. I will fight for Two Rivers. I will continue to keep our parks and quality of life strong, encourage downtown development, work to fix our housing shortage, encourage and help homeowners with improvements, look to get market rate apartments, encourage growth in our industrial park, maintain or increase our fire, EMS, and police, encourage special events, and fight the drug problem that is right here in our community. I'm proud to have the support of the Manitowoc County Sheriff, local first responders, tourism leaders, including hotel ownership, large business leaders, small business leaders, and residents. I look forward to your vote to continue moving Two Rivers forward into the next 3 years and beyond. I would be honored to have your vote on April 4th. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
As I stated before, I, over-the-road truck driver, drove all over Europe and the United States. Two Rivers is a jewel. Everywhere I drove, every time I went over a hill, I expected to see water because I grew up here and I lived 3 blocks from the largest area of fresh water in the world. And when you roll over a hill and all you see is another hill, it's a whole different world out there. We have something very special here and we need to keep it, grow it, and give a future for our children here. All I have.
I want to thank all of you for coming to this forum. I know you're probably wondering why the insistence that we have it so soon. But the reason is, you're all going to be, those of you who asked for an absentee ballot, you're going to be getting it next week. So with League, we want to educate and inform, and if you don't know what's on your ballot, how can you do that? So that's why the forums had to start as early as they did. And I appreciate all of the help and assistance that I've got from the city of Two Rivers. They were just great. Lisa helped getting us started. I started out with Jamie and then Lisa and then your new city clerk back there, Amber. Amanda Barenbrook. And I knew her from when she was little, and I still mess up the names. Anyway, but I can't thank you all enough for that. And in talking about, the voting, you can do walk-in balloting here at the city on Tuesday, March 21st. And you can come in and vote if you want to. There are going to be a couple of referendums that the state is putting on your ballot. So if you want to know what's on your ballot ahead of time, you go into myvote.com, myvote.gov.wi. Take this, it's all there. You can go on to this website. It gives you what is on your ballot, so you're not surprised, like when you get your ballot and you think, what are these references all about? And there's 3 from the state. So I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that. The other thing, and this is in comments to what this woman said about Two Rivers. We moved here now a little bit longer than I care to tell you, but I still feel like a newcomer. But I do want to tell you, I belong to your library book club, and the library is going to be able to have an exhibit that is only out to 1 of 15 sites, and it's on immigration. And so that is a coup just for Two Rivers Library. And just, so it goes into what they're saying. This is a wonderful city, and I'm very happy to live here. Anyway, good night and thanks. Take some things. Thank you.